So we're going to talk about Gambit Prime. And did you guys get a chance to play Gambit Prime?
Yes.
A little bit.
I
Quite
played
a whole lot.
I think I played a lot of Gambit Prime with the past couple days.
Here's what I'm going to say. I had obviously I got to play a couple rounds. I got to play like maybe five rounds of Gambit Prime. And
are you counting each individual like phase change in Gambit Prime as a round? Or
no.
Okay.
5 games.
Okay.
And then I went and did Reckoning once.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that is considered the complete loop, but I did that. And I wanted to hear a lot from you guys because I know you guys have been playing it a ton, but I want to hear more because for me, based on that small sample, it seemed like a lot of fun. But I wanted to break down from you guys what playing it a lot feels like and what your thoughts are on the potential for its success and longevity through Season of the Drifter. So, and also we've got a TWAB to talk about. So
I didn't look at the TWAB yet.
There's
It came out really late.
There's not a lot there.
Ebontis, how
Not a
about
lot
you kick
there.
things off with the Game of Prime discussion?
it's a TWAB.
TWAB.
It's a TWAB.
So I got to play. I lost track of how many matches I played. It was basically all Tuesday. I streamed for like 9 hours. So
Nice.
So I got to play a lot, and as I don't have like a crew to run with, randoms was definitely an interesting thing. But I think there were a fair amount in there. But their matches, when they say, "Oh yeah, they'll be like 6 to 9 minutes," I had some of them go like 15 minutes on one match. Yeah, they're long.
Oof.
You get a lot of invasions, trading back and forth, and somebody comes in, and then I'll run in. It's really nice to invade people. Then you're like, "Oh, we're starting all over again." So they can get long for sure. But I like the changes of the mechanics. For the map has more places to hide. So you actually they don't seem quite as open, which I seem to like. And then I like the way the why can't I think? The envoys, the 3 sets work, and it's all about timing that 3rd set after the invader to start getting some damage. So it's really learning those mechanics, but with randoms, it's rough.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the.
Why do you think it's why you point out that with randoms is I've seen other people saying that, but why is it rough with randoms? You think?
Part of it is because like people are like, hey, there's the envoys, let's kill them all, as opposed to it's kill the 2. If you leave the 3rd one up, then you can actually wait for an invader to come in, which they do all the time. Then when they leave, you can kill the 3rd and actually get a good damage run on the boss. So that's actually a better sequence. But having people don't know what they're doing, yeah, the strategy is not there. They're just like kill everything and shoot the boss. I actually like when people
the
are.
waypoint says kill the thing, so kill it.
just don't get shot.
Yeah.
Get the drops and kill
But don't.
it. Jeez, man.
But don't. Please don't.
But don't kill it. So there's going to be a whole lot of complaining about blueberries out of Gambit Prime.
Mhm.
Probably.
I can imagine that. Yeah, I had less issues with blueberries in the Reckoning than Gambit. Later levels, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
but right
way
now,
less.
Reckoning right now is not too terrible. So
Yeah, for sure.
We've heard there's going to be more mechanics and stuff in the next tiers of Reckoning, so sure the blueberry thing will hurt tier 2.
What's your initial thoughts, Watts? What's your initial impression on Gambit Prime?
Gambit Prime, I like way more than regular Gambit. There's just more to do. There's more to think about. And it makes those roles be more cemented instead of like, oh, I'll just kind of do whatever. It's really important to make sure that there's someone near the bank. Because if they end up getting a bunch of blockers, you start draining moats. That's really bad. So I personally really enjoy Gambit Prime. There's a lot of strategy to it. Like we were saying, you don't want to just kill all 3 of the envoys immediately. You kind of want to wait for that first invasion to come through. And then you're like, okay, we can get a full nice damage phase off without worrying about an invader. Because the worst thing is having an invader come through right as you start damage phase. And then basically that entire damage phase, you're just like, well, we just wasted the damage phase completely.
pretty much.
What's
done.
the timing on invader phases? Because is it connect? I'm sorry if I'm going to ask stupid questions because
No.
I just haven't played
The
that much.
game has an algorithm, Pope. It says, is now a convenient time to have an invader come through? No?
Yeah.
Okay, no invader. Is now an inconvenient time to have an invader come through? Yes. Here he comes.
So
It's
Sounds
a
about
phase
right
of-
sometimes.
if you
or
kill,
time.
I
For damage.
think it's time. I think.
Yeah, I think it's time.
So if you
time
kill
based,
the 3rd envoy and they invade, then by the time you're ready to kill the 3rd envoy again, there's an invader ready.
It's what, like 30 seconds, I think,
It feels right like that.
About 30
yeah.
seconds.
around that.
Yeah. You basically have to wait. You have to coordinate with your team to wait Like, there's obviously going to be invader, so
You
might as
wanna
well
wait,
wait.
yeah.
But at the same time, if you're the invader on the other team, you kind of want to watch to see when the
Mhm.
health bar starts to drop
For sure.
before
Yeah.
you actually
As
go
soon
in
as you
that
see
portal.
that, you're like, let's go.
Yep.
Let's go through.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
You don't just want to waste it and jump through and they're like, oh, no one's doing anything.
This is basically
Neat.
every damage phase you have on the boss. There's an invader, and like depending on how each team is handling the timing of that, it can take a long time.
Did
Yeah.
you guys
Oh,
ever
I
run into any
actually-
chickens?
I
Any?
have a
I'm sorry.
story.
Chickens.
Well, I wanted to ask you, Watts. Like, did you guys ever run into any other teams that were playing a game of chicken to see who would kill that third envoy? Like,
I had it happen
was anybody
once.
else like
I
stalling?
had it happen once, but I think that was just more of a situation of they were completely out of ammo, so it was taking them a really long time to kill the envoy while we were just
Oh,
waiting.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing. It seems like whatever team has ammo, like seems to have a huge advantage. Like RNG has a big part in this
Yep.
whole process because if your team just happen to get a ton of ammo, you're gonna beat your boss faster, and your invades are gonna go much more successfully, as opposed to like if your team is only trying to invade with special ammo as opposed to heavy ammo every time, then your invades are gonna go less well, and you're not gonna be able to take down your boss as fast.
Yeah, the question mark
Oh,
of heavy ammo seems to be like a huge thing.
Mhm.
Like when you get
Yeah.
it and how much you get changes a whole bunch because your invasion with like machine guns for mapping people with something like that really can make a difference if you do or don't have that ammo.
Conveniently, if you have a taken armaments mod from the raid, the one that gives
Yeah.
heavy ammo on grenade kill, none of this matters, and you can have just a machine gun as your primary for the most part.
I noticed playing against people who did that, and
Yes.
wow.
Let me tell you, the number one thing it was already in Gambit, and now in Gambit Prime even more so because the phase that has taken lasts longer.
Mhm.
You're gonna want to go run Last Wish and get one of those mods
Absolutely.
because it basically gives you infinite. You have infinite sources to get heavy ammo now. You're no longer bound by heavy ammo dropping or trying to pick it up from one of the little things. Which can be super frustrating if if someone keeps invading you with a machine gun and just keeps cross mapping you with a machine gun.
So how does that work, Holtz? Because I need to take.
You get the
Gotta get his
mod.
notepad out. Yellow
Get the
legal
mod
pad.
From,
You do what?
from, you
You
get
go
the
to
mod from Last Wish.
Last Wish. Okay.
Yes,
And what am I
get the
looking
mod
for?
from that? Put it in a piece
Mod?
of gear.
And that's something that I put on the armor, right?
I fucking hate you.
Where do
so
we
goddamn
get these taken? Where do we get the taken mods from? Anywhere specific?
where's the
inside
best
Last
Last
source,
Wish,
please?
just Last
But
Wish. You get it from
where
chests.
specific?
So if I
Chests
just
in Last Wish.
chest, got it.
From a chest beast, like armor. If you disarmor a chest armor,
From a chest.
Remember how like before the podcast, you guys were like, "We're
Mhm.
gonna treat Holtz nice." This podcast.
No, I don't
I'm
remember
being
that.
serious right now. Come on, Holtz. I wouldn't be hurting you like this. So where do I get the mod from? Chests? Like what chests?
in Last Wish.
Any of them? Okay.
I believe we lost him.
We apparently lost Holtz. He doesn't know the answer to the question, guys.
Some of Bonta
I-
said though earlier is that the map is. I do like this map a lot because
This map is nice, yeah.
It's closer
It gives-
quarters.
it feels like it's
It's bigger.
it's a big map, but it feels like there's a lot of small areas in the map where like sometimes I'll be fighting a witch or a warlock in like a small area.
A witch
I don't know,
or a
whatever, a
warlock?
wizard, whatever.
Barbarian.
Thank you.
Drunken.
Why do they all have to start with W? And like sometimes I'm up on this platform, trying to fight an invader. Sometimes as an invader, there's plenty of places to hide. You can decide to loop around the whole area or run straight up the middle. Like
That's true.
it just feels like there's a lot of different options for engagements.
Mhm.
And because of the way it's broken up, it makes it feel fun. I like the area itself.
I'm
Watts,
really
you were going to
excited.
tell a story.
Oh.
like, earlier.
Yeah. So I was in a match where we killed our Primeval, but the game didn't register that we killed our Primeval. So it
I was
took away
just happening to
our
us, too.
Primeval and their Primeval. So we had to go to time, and then it ended with a draw.
Draw.
And then you had to play the whole thing over again. Like from the
me
beginning.
too.
The
And it was
whole
like
thing.
Primeval was this far away from being beat. It was like
So that was like half hour of your
It was a
life.
long, because you went
Yeah,
through
it's a long match.
the full time of Gambit Prime, and then you had to play another one. So it was a very, very, very long thing. Also, like if you're
Interesting.
playing with random blueberries, so my mom actually found this problem. They were winning a lot, and then the other team sent over a bunch of blockers. No one on her team understood that you need to kill the blockers, so all their moats straight.
Oh.
Every
How fast do
single
they get
moat.
absorbed?
It's like
They can go pretty
Pretty
quick.
fast.
It goes fast.
Yeah.
whenever it's like a second or two in between.
Shout
I
out to
believe.
Jotun, by the way, for killing those blockers. Amazing.
Jotun.
Yeah, Jotun's
Jotun
really
Yeah,
good for that.
really
see,
good
I
for
haven't
that.
gotten that one yet. I really, you know,
Do you have Lord of Wolves?
Also
No.
good.
Oh, because that's good
Yeah.
for
keep
doing.
listing all of
Nice.
the exotics that come from raids, and I don't have any of them.
I gotta
None of those
say-
come from
None
of
raids.
those
I
come
was
from
like
raids.
Lord of Wolves. Yeah, none of those
I
actually.
gotta say the moat draining
Stop.
concept is really cool in this game mode.
Yeah.
Like because before it was like you send over some blockers and they're just gonna get melted when they're ready to put in the moats. But like
Right.
this changes things with the way they change what type of blockers go in there, but also the fact that it drains. Like it's very exciting. Like if somebody if you have a dedicated invader, they go in, they put pressure on the other team, and then suddenly you drop into large boys, then they're going to be
So
draining
they're
moats.
focused on the invader, not the large boys.
Exactly.
Oh, you just kill. You
Yeah,
take all
right.
their moats.
And if they happen to get an army of one and wipe them all, then they're respawning while all the moats are draining from their.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
They're back.
gosh!
You know what
these
I'm
are
really
strats.
excited about? So
Writing this shit
the
down.
big
Invader set.
fatty perks. Yeah. So the way that people currently play Gambit, a lot of the time, is when an invader comes through, they just go to the back and just hide, or they go to the back and they protect somebody. But when someone has that full invader set and they can just go and stand next to the enemy bank and drain their moats,
Mhm.
you're gonna have to make a decision of, do I want to push this person
Oh, snap.
and risk losing my moats, or do I want to just send,
What I'm curious about is,
That's
does
interesting.
the invader get to keep the moats that they're stealing and take them back to
I
their,
think you're literally draining them from theirs to yours,
like it's a
think,
direct transfer?
but I don't know.
Yeah,
Like an
I don't
electronic
think we
transfer.
know 100%,
You're just
but it would
like-
make sense that
We
it's
don't-
like that you're like one of the blockers helping with the drain.
Yeah. You're basically a blocker, right? Because you take the bank down when you invade, and then standing next to it, you can drain those moats.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's going to be exciting. Which armor sets have you guys got ready for?
Well, can we talk about armor? Because that was the biggest disappointment for me
Actually,
on day one of this.
Hold up, before we go armor, because I didn't get to talk about my thoughts on Gamer Prime.
Oh yeah, we
Neither
still
did I.
haven't done
Okay.
that.
We need
so you want to go?
Sorry,
Yes.
my bad.
We need all the thoughts. Fair.
Yeah,
We need all the
I personally don't really like it. From what I don't like Gambit Prime from what I've played. I'm at about 5,000 infamy right now, which is like what 20-ish matches, I think. And like the first I'm gonna separate into two phases: pre and post Primeval. Pre-Primeval, when you're just banking moats, you have that going back and forth. That is really fun. I really enjoy that. Like trying to coordinate with your team, put two blockers over, start draining some moats, get an invader to go over to cause more chaos. Like all that has a really cool push and pull type gameplay going in.
Yep.
That's awesome. I basically don't have any complaints about that that part of the game. My complaints are basically all in the post Primeval. Once you've gotten the Primeval to spawn, first off, like if you play multiple games like back to back, you get kind of like this glazed over thought process of what phase are we in? Like how many times have we killed how many times have we killed the envoys? Like what's our damage stack at? Because you only get Primeval Slayer stacks to increase based on how many times you've killed all three envoys.
Mhm.
So like there was a time where it's like, all right, guys, let's do some damage, and it's like, oh, we're only at we're at one stack on this. It's like, oh, that was only our first one. Okay, well, guess we're not doing damage. If you get two good teams, like two good invaders, basically going back and forth, the game isn't going to end anytime soon. That phase feels really long and really brutal. And when you have run out of ammo, when you are basically just sitting there waiting to do DPS or waiting for the invader to come over, it's just not fun.
I would agree with that, Holtz.
Mhm.
Is the invasions happen too frequently, the boss phase takes too long.
Yeah, I wish there was some sort of like mechanic where it's like, okay, you got the boss to this percentage of health, it can't be healed past that anymore. Similar to like a cap zone in Overwatch.
Yep.
Yeah, like you get a third and it can't go above it.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
That'd be cool.
Because it I get it. It feels really satisfying as an invader to go over, wipe a team, Primeval's at full health. Also feels really unsatisfying to be at like a lower damage phase, like 2 or 3 stacks, get a third of the boss's health down, one person dies, that's all negated.
Yep.
But from what I'm seeing, people are waiting. They're not trying in their first damage phases.
You literally can't kill it in the first damage.
Yeah, you can't.
You literally cannot kill it due to both health, and then there is a health gate on it.
Yep.
You cannot kill it. So you can do it. You can do it in like the second phase, and there, depending on what strat you use, like we figured out that Wardcliff Coil is actually insane, but depending on like the map positioning, the Wardcliff Coil may not be that optimal.
Yeah, the center one is too far away, right?
Yeah, center one's too far away. If you're on to the side ones for the second one, okay, then you should be good. But yeah, basically the Primeval phase has an entirely different game feel than the first one, and I feel like that is where the game should be having like a more aggressive tempo, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like I should be like excited during that phase. I feel bored most of the time in that phase. I want the game mode I want to be done with it. Our boss is he's at half health. We need one more damage phase. Okay, now we have to go kill the envoys again. Like just the entire process feels too slow, and it takes me out of the game mode.
Yeah.
So, I like your idea of that, Pat, because it would also make it to where you place more emphasis on having good invades.
Yeah.
Because currently during that phase, it's like, just keep going. You know, even if you kill one person, just go in again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like second basically all that, like what you're experiencing on that. Like the first half is fun and exciting, killing stuff. And like I played a lot of Gambit in the past 2 days.
Yeah, and you got a full reset in.
I got a
right?
full reset.
Yeah,
I got 15,000.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, because I want the delirium, so I'm like, might as well get this over with now. The first half is fun and exciting, although can be annoying constantly going against tanky ads, because like you said, you get this glaze that sets in from playing the same map in the same mode over and over, and about 2 hours in, you just forget that these ads are gonna like demolish you.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I lost 10 modes. Well, that's annoying, but I guess we've got to get these points higher. And then once you get to the Primeval, completely agree. There's like this pause, got to go kill these envoys. You get that down, then you have to time it. You're like playing this waiting game. And I will say, in comparison to regular Gambit, I think this mode is significantly better. Just across the board.
Yeah.
One round, it should have been that way from the beginning. There's no reason to have multiple rounds, in my opinion, from regular Gambit.
The Mayhem round is silly, though, and it's great.
Oh, yeah, I haven't tried that. I probably won't try it, to
Yeah,
be
I had
honest.
one of those.
I need to go do that.
Yeah.
We need
Sudden
more of
death.
that.
I think Gambit Prime is a better version of Gambit across the board. Blueberries, who are jumping in for the first time, have like a uphill battle, just big time. Like I tried it as a blueberry to jump in first time, and I had no idea about the envoys. I didn't know where to do damage or anything like that, so I was a detriment to my team on my first match. Lost that match. Then I had a little bit better knowledge. Jumped in the second time as a blueberry. We won that one, and I was more coordinated with the envoys. And then I got a stacked team, and it was just stomp, stomp, stomp most of the time. Didn't lose a game because we were quick on killing the envoys, and our invasions were just usually wiping teams constantly.
I feel like that's half the battle, is just communicating the timing on killing envoys in invasions during the last phase. I almost feel like the first phase doesn't matter that much, because you have so much leeway during the second phase based on good communication and good invasions.
Yeah.
That
basically, like your first phase, you want to kill those envoys as fast as possible. It doesn't even matter if you're doing DPS. Because somebody might invade and wipe out your progress. And like you were saying, like the fact that there is no cap from what it can heal, it does create this back and forth. Like if you go against a good team, then it creates this, like, I don't think it's satisfying with the back and forth. It's more of just annoying. Be like, you wiped us. Now you got our health back, and you guys got wiped, health back. It like creates this back and forth that is just kind of annoying. But then again, I'm not trying to play it as like a hyper competitive person. I'm playing it for drops and to get that reset. And
How's that go for you?
my biggest issue with it. I had like
Drop.
I wiped teams on invades. I killed
What
HVTs. I killed tons of envoys. I did just about everything except for the 15 moat collection really fast. That one's tough. If everybody's going hard to get the moats, like good luck on getting that one. I didn't get a single curated drop in 15,000 infamy points. Not a single infamy drop. Curated drop. What the hell is that?
Defty.
Yes.
Defty. I got one.
I'm not surprised. I think my account.
I played with someone who got one.
RNG, so.
No joke.
I got 2.
I think my account's bugged because I didn't get a single drop on that.
Did you get one?
No,
Holtz, did you get one?
2.
I got one.
What?
You got one? Did anybody in here not get a curated drop?
I have not got one.
Okay.
I have
And
not
I've
got
played
I got the SMG.
for like 12 hours.
I got
of-
the shotgun.
Supposedly
Yeah,
SMG comes from the HVT. I killed a bunch of HVTs. No.
Yeah, SMG came from HVT, and then shotgun came from Invader, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, I got the invader shotgun. So yeah.
Yeah, I killed a bunch of invaders. I invaded, wiped teams. Didn't get the sniper. Didn't get the shotgun. I think the hand cannon comes from the 15 moat collection really fast. I personally
I need to do that, man.
I personally want to get the hand
You
cannon,
have
but
to have an orchestrated.
The hand
team.
cannon
I
is
don't-
awesome. I want it so bad.
yeah, I don't want the curated one though. And here's my viewpoint on Gambit Prime after resetting my infamy is that cool mode, definitely better than Gambit. I have no desire to grind that mode over and over. I think like the gear sets are cool. Like we're going to talk about the armor. I think that aspect is really cool. And I like that they're doing that in Destiny. But for me personally, I could care less about getting super sweaty in that game mode. And I want that game mode to award me with one of those hand cannons after the match. And out of all those matches, I never got a single end game drop that was of the new weapons. So I'm assuming they don't drop from the games. And also on the resets, I didn't get a single new weapon from those. I got like regular Gambit weapons that came from Forsaken. So it just made me kind of go, but
What's
what?
That's usually disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
I
the
agree
same
with that.
experience, Stefty, and like, Gambit isn't something that I want to play for 8 hours a day, right? It's something I want to jump into every once in a while, and it'd be cool if I got some good loot out of it. But the low drop rate makes it like it feels like I'm just banging my head against a wall. Like it's just not dropping for me.
Yeah, it
And also,
yeah, go for it, Ebontis.
oh, I was just gonna say, it feels like if you guys notice on the synths, like anybody else have a whole lot more invasion synths than anything else, depending
Yeah.
on how you play.
Yeah,
That
was
seems like the
first armor
easiest one to
set I
get.
made, yeah.
Yeah, and everything else
I
seems-
did nothing but invade, and in 4 games, I think I got 4.
Yeah, and then like I have like 2 collector tokens. Like they're so much harder to get.
Yeah. The collection one's definitely harder to get. Yeah.
I basically didn't invade much. I'm sitting at 10 invader synths, but then like Reaper and Sentry, I'm sitting at like 12 and 14.
So walk
of
me
those.
if you haven't had a chance to play it yet.
Okay.
Walk me through what we're talking about here. What's the loop here? And because we've all kind of shared our opinions a bit yet.
About Gambit
Briar,
Prime.
yeah, everybody. Gambit Prime. But what are we talking about with the synths? So if you're going to be jumping in and you're playing, what is that gameplay loop that they're setting up for us?
All right. So generally what you're going to be doing outside of like bounties and stuff that you complete, you're going to go play Gambit Prime. From completing tasks in Gambit Prime, or just from playing Gambit Prime, like if you go invade a bunch, you're probably going to get invader synths from when you get kills. They're like the little things that the Drifter has, the coins. Those are synths. You get ones depending on what role you're filling. You invade, you're going to get invaders. You take out blockers a bunch, you're going to get, I think, Sentry or Reaper. I can't remember. Yeah, you're getting.
And what do you do with those?
Okay. Once you get synths, depending on whichever ones you have, you then go into the Reckoning. Reckoning is a just PvE activity, a 4-player PvE activity. And
Kinda
with
like a
those
horde mode,
synths, I fucking hate that word to describe anything.
I mean,
in
it
this game.
is, right? They just keep on spawning.
No. Anyway, you All right, you take those synths, you put them into an item in your inventory, much similar to the oven from the Dawning, and then you get a moat. You get like a weak moat, or depending on what level of thing, how many synths you put in.
This
you get a
thing that you're
stronger one.
describing right now was a
Mhm.
little confusing to me in game.
It's
playing
usually
by
confusing.
myself.
Yeah.
A lot of
It-
people didn't know
yeah.
where to put the moat, and they were like, "I'm not getting armor. Don't get it."
Yeah, I just
Fortunately,
used
I
it.
was playing with Rick Kakis, and he explained it to me.
You can also
And,
just eat the moat and just get
Yeah,
like a 3-point
consume it.
bonus.
the synth.
See
Not
that
the
I was legitimately confused about this, and I was playing with Tux and Rikakis, and he's like, well, Pope, this is what you do, and he explained it all out, and I don't think it feels like there should be some in-game thing to what you should be doing.
There is a
right?
quest
In-
that you do that
Right.
kind
If
of
you read it.
teaches you this if you read
Yeah.
it.
Well,
It
Um,
describes
reading
it, but it
it,
uses all
reading it.
brand new language. So you're trying to like interpret what it's saying based on like these new items that are dropping. So it's just confusing.
it is a very unintuitive process of
Yeah.
getting the synths. That's not that difficult. You do a thing in Gambit, do a particular
Right.
role, you'll
Got
probably
it.
get the synth. But the process of turning the synth into a moat and then putting the moat into a bank at the start of Reckoning, that is a
But
complete.
you have a limited amount of time, but to do that, right?
You
Before
got
it
about
kicks
like
off.
you got about 30
15
seconds.
seconds.
Can you
I thought it
do
was
it.
can you
15.
go into it without depositing a moat?
Yes.
No, I don't think you have a
Yes.
limited
Yeah.
time.
I think you have to have one on you, and then you don't have to deposit it though. You can jump in without betting or
Yeah,
wagering.
because
Right,
I've
you don't
joined
have to
them
wager.
and they're in progress, and I can just walk up to the thing, deposit my moat, and then jump down the hole.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like
Um,
I feel like I did that the first time.
Okay.
And then once you have banked your thing and go into Reckoning, you don't have to. You can do Reckoning and not wager any moats at all. You can just go in there and kill stuff if that's what you want to do. But
And
if
there's
you
a
want
chance
into
that
the
you
horde
can get
mode.
drops
You can go into the horde mode.
into that.
Sure.
You
You can
into the
go
horde mode?
into the area that has a bunch of mobs that you kill, and then a
Mhm.
boss spawns at the end of that.
Right.
much
Um,
like a horde mode.
and then it restarts, but does not get harder. It just restarts.
Right. There's
Well,
no
it does get-
progression of difficulty in
It does.
in week one.
It does in week one. It doesn't. You're right.
Tomorrow.
Oh,
Tomorrow.
tomorrow's tier 2.
Tomorrow's recommended. Well, it's going to be 670. Is going to be the power
Oh,
level of it.
wow. Spicy.
Yeah.
So
here's
tomorrow
the
it
biggest
evolves
problem I had
into
with
a
the
horde
Reckoning right here is I actually enjoyed going to the Reckoning, fighting in the Reckoning. Got some armor. I was like, all right, here's that sweet armor. I got a full set. I'm like, how come it doesn't glow? Wait a minute, this is tier 1. Can I upgrade this to tier 2, or is this worthless fucking armor?
Worthless.
It's not worthless.
It's worthless.
It is.
It's
It
kinda
is
worthless.
completely
It is
worthless.
actually worthless.
Doesn't even
Why
drop
is it
highlight or
worthless?
anything.
Yeah,
No.
it's dropped on like I think
Okay.
I got one at highlight. I take that back from like
Here-
one.
I was so disappointed when
class
this
down.
happened. You get the armor, you realize it does have the Gambit Prime perks on it, so that's kind of cool. But it's like got really low level perk bonuses. So
Less
you
one.
bring it into Gambit Prime, you can hardly even tell that you're getting these perk bonuses. You don't get the good ones. It turns out that you got to do tier 2 and tier 3 to get the good armor
Yep.
that has high perk bonuses. You don't upgrade tier 1 armor to tier 2. You replace it with tier 2.
Yeah.
So if you're using your synths or your moats or whatever these fucking things are called that are dropping, if you're using these right now, you're wasting them because you want to be saving them for next week when you can actually get tier 3 armor, and these things are going to
Mhm.
cost you what we're thinking
2.
4 synths at
Three.
least.
It's 2 per.
2
is
for
it?
tier 2?
You can get the
2 is
2 for
upgraded.
tier 2, but you're going to want the tier 3, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're gonna want tier 3.
Do we know that?
Hmm?
Do we know that we're not that this current week 1 tier 1?
We know that
armor
because
is not
if
gonna
you
be
go into the
scaled
collections tab, there are 3 separate sets of armor. Tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3.
Yeah, and there's no
It's like-
there's no like button on there that says insert the magical
Upgrade.
upgrade device
Yeah.
to turn this into a
Yeah.
tier 2.
And they've got
set.
different names to them too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
They are in 3 entirely different sets of armor.
Hmm.
Briar, I need to apologize to you last week because last week I was like, how fucking stupid would it be if they just had 3 sets or like multiple sets of armor for tier 1, tier 2,
Yeah,
tier
Holtz.
3?
Is
Do
that
they
stupid?
realize how and then there's different sets for each one. It's just going to be one set with like a mod or something that you swap
Yeah.
in between, because that would be like the
Yeah.
nope. They went the full fuck your vault mode.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
did.
they really did. Hardcore.
I was
Wait,
literally
so
listening to you guys.
someone in chat, Seema, said you're gonna earn upgrade tokens. Check out the bounties. Does anyone know
Okay.
anything about that?
No, I haven't seen
Hmm.
upgrade
I haven't heard
tokens,
about these.
Interesting.
but I have seen in the collection tab that there are 3 different sets of armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have different names to them, and it seems like when you upgrade your synth, which you only can do once, by the way, you definitely can't do any of the weekly bounties. So pick wisely because you get.
Oh
to
no.
do one.
You can make the lower level synths.
Yes.
Yeah, but it says like to do the weekly bounty, it says you have to make
Oh.
the highest level one.
That
Right.
Huh.
So you
You
only
can
get to
do-
do, you get to do one weekly bounty. That's it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Also, it's not super clear that you can like kind of downgrade and start making green ones again once you start
Yep.
making blues, and then you have to dismantle your blue one if you want to keep making greens. Like if you want to start working on a different set of armor.
It's a bit confusing. It sounds like it's not. We're not clear how this is going to play out.
Well, I'll tell
I
you.
feel
Puppy-
like
Go ahead.
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
What it is it feels like they made a huge improvement to the Black Armory in that right off the bat I could go in there and start playing the new content. But then within a couple hours I realized
you're waiting.
but it's completely fucking pointless because my time is better spent by a long shot just going back into the Taken King stuff and power leveling my character so that when the tier 3 does come out, I'm leveled up enough to actually compete in it. Because I could go into Gambit and get some tokens, but going into Reckoning, it feels like completely superfluous. Like there's no reason to be doing it. Like you're better off spending all your time just leveling up your character
And farming
Because-
synths.
Yeah.
Yep.
On top of
because
that,
For
when
tier
tier 3 does come out, it's going to be a higher level.
It's
It-
gonna be
but-
690.
and it's also going
Yeah.
it's going to
That's gonna
cost you more on those moats. So why, or the synths? So why even spend the synths now for the tier 1 gear?
It
Yeah,
makes no
doesn't make any
sense.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like this game
Makes
mode that kind of looks like a horde mode. Maybe it's not. That you get to play that is cool initially. Then you're like, well, there's no point unless I just want to kill the ads in here. I like the fact that they put modifiers in there. I will say that. I think that's awesome.
that was cool. Yep.
Yes.
Modifiers are
Really
cool.
happy about
Absolutely.
So that little investment loop there is a little broken at the beginning. I think you're right, Briar. Like maybe they're trying a little different something so that you could access it right away, and then I don't know.
you get a taste of it, but like if you have any sense of like, oh, there's going to be more coming. Oh, these are the resources. I'm spending my resources that I'll need to use later.
that. Yeah,
Right.
Okay, I'm just not going to spend those resources. I'm just going to hoard them until later.
exactly.
And if you've got limited time to play the game, like you definitely should not be spending that time in the Reckoning right now.
Yeah.
You should
No.
be spending that time
Leveling up.
running strikes to, get power engrams, running PvE, PvP, running regular old Gambit because you could get power engrams that way. You just need to be leveling up your character right now if you're limited time and you want to get the good stuff as fast as you can.
I just
Shout out to the 100,000 Nightfall's getting harder though.
yeah, no doubt. I just don't understand
they were-
why
they were-
they want to time gate these tiers. Aside from
Yeah, I
like
have
trying to
a
extend the
theory.
content.
I think one reason that I can see is that, so say there's people who just farm light really quick. They're able to do tier 3 immediately and they have that
Oh,
max
yeah.
perk in Gambit Prime.
That
Then
makes
people
sense.
who are trying to farm Gambit Prime to get the synths to be able to just do tier 1 or tier
Are
2,
gonna be bait.
it's going to be rough.
Okay.
So that's the only
Yeah.
thing that I can see, like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. You wouldn't want to run into the 4-stack with the plus 15 and you're like, oh, I just started playing today.
Yeah.
That's really true.
Yeah, I guess it's a
In
good
theory,
point.
matchmaking should be taking care of that, though.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard
Because
in
matchmaking always works as
Destiny.
intended.
Right. Yeah.
It does.
Flawless.
How dare you?
I
Well, the sad
noticed
thing is-
that
Bad matchmaking.
we did not go against any 4-stacks when we were a 4-stack going in
That's all I
Gambit
saw.
Prime. We just we went against solo players. Maybe there was like
Were you in a 4-stack?
yes,
I was the solo
Oh,
player.
that's why.
I was in the 4-stack and we were going against solos. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I was in a team of 2 or 3 the whole time, and all I saw was 4-stacks.